My girlfriend's friends set up a test where she'd pretend to break up with me. When she said, "It's over," I played along. Finally, now I can stop pretending I don't know about you and Mike. Her friends' shocked faces when they realized their test backfired spectacularly. I, 28 male, been with my girlfriend, 27, for about 2.5 years. We don't live together, which honestly saved my life in this whole situation. She has her apartment, I have mine. We'd been talking about maybe moving in together next year, but something always felt slightly off the past few months. Call it intuition, call it paranoia, whatever. Little things. Her phone always face down suddenly, being vague about her day, getting weirdly defensive when I asked basic questions about work. So last Saturday night, I'm at her place for what I thought was just a regular hangout. Her 2 best friends were there too, which wasn't unusual. They'd hang around sometimes before going out or whatever. I was sitting on the couch scrolling through my phone when my girlfriend suddenly muted the TV. "We need to talk," she said. Her voice was weird, rehearsed almost, like she'd practiced in front of a mirror. I looked up. Her 2 best friends were watching me like hawks. One had her phone out, angled toward me in that not-so-subtle way people do when they're recording. The other was literally leaning forward like she was about to witness a car crash, eyes wide with anticipation. "Okay," I said slowly, already feeling something was off. "I've been thinking a lot lately, and I think we should break up. It's over between us." Dead silence. I looked at her face, then at her friends. One was biting her lip to suppress a smile. The other's eyes were darting between me and my girlfriend, like she was watching a tennis match, phone still pointed right at me. And suddenly, everything clicked into place. See, here's what they didn't know. I'd already seen the group chat. About 3 weeks ago, my girlfriend left her laptop open at my place while she showered. A notification popped up from their group chat. I wasn't trying to snoop, but the preview said, "The test will show if he really loves her." And yeah, I clicked. Call me paranoid, but that's not something you just ignore. They'd been planning this for weeks. Her friends had convinced her that real love means a guy should fight for you, cry, beg, make dramatic declarations. They wanted to stage a fake breakup to see how I'd react. If I got emotional and desperate, I passed their little test. If I stayed calm or accepted it, I was clearly not that into her, and she should dump me for real. Toxic? Absolutely. But that's not even the worst part. While scrolling through that chat, I found something else. Messages from 2 months back. My girlfriend venting about how her coworker had been flirting with her. Her friends encouraging her to explore her options and see what's out there. Screenshots of texts between her and this coworker that were definitely not work appropriate. Messages about how he gets her in ways I don't. Plans to meet up just for drinks that she never mentioned to me. Him calling her beautiful. Her responding with heart emojis. I'd spent the last 3 weeks quietly piecing things together. Noticed she'd been working late more often, at least twice a week now. Her phone always face down, never left unattended. New passwords on everything. She'd started dressing differently for work too. Better makeup, nicer outfits. I didn't confront her because I wanted to be sure, and honestly, I needed time to process what I was feeling. So when she hit me with the fake breakup, I saw my opportunity to end this on my terms. I put down my phone, looked her dead in the eyes, and said with genuine relief in my voice, "Oh, thank God. Finally. Now I can stop pretending I don't know about you and your coworker." The silence that followed was deafening. You could have heard a pin drop. Her best friend's jaw literally dropped. The other one fumbled her phone. My girlfriend's face went from smug confidence to absolute terror in about half a second. The color just drained right out of her face. "What?" she stammered. "Yeah, him. The one you've been meeting up with after working late. The one sending you those texts about how he can't stop thinking about you. How you're the most beautiful woman in the office. That guy." How do you even? Doesn't matter how I know. What matters is I know. So yeah, if you want to break up, I'm honestly relieved. This saves me a really awkward conversation I've been dreading. I stood up, grabbed my jacket from the chair. Her friends were frozen in place. This was not the script they'd written. They wanted tears. They wanted begging. They got calm acceptance and a bomb nobody saw coming. Wait. Her best friend jumped up, waving her hands. This was just a test. She wasn't really breaking up with you. It was supposed to see if you'd fight for her. I laughed, actually laughed out loud. A test? You're telling me my girlfriend of 2.5 years just fake dumped me to see if I'd cry and beg? And you think that's the issue here? My girlfriend started crying. Real tears now, not the theatrical ones from her performance. It's not what you think. Nothing happened with him. We're just friends from work. The texts say otherwise. But honestly, I don't even care anymore. You wanted to play games and you found out I wasn't playing the same game. I walked toward the door. Her best friend stepped in front of me. You can't just leave. You're overreacting. Whatever you think you saw, it's probably nothing. Move, now. She moved. Something in my face must have told her I wasn't in the mood. I walked out, didn't look back, blocked my girlfriend's number before I even got to my car. My hands were shaking the whole drive home. Not from anger exactly, from relief, like I'd been holding my breath for 3 weeks and finally let it out. Like this weight I'd been carrying around was suddenly gone. It hurt. Don't get me wrong, 2.5 years is a long time. But the hurt was cleaner than the doubt and suspicion I'd been living with. Update 1, 4 days later. So the fallout has been something else. First, my girlfriend, ex now, obviously, has been trying to reach me through every possible channel. Since I blocked her number, she's been using her friends' phones, her mom's phone, her cousin's phone, random numbers I don't recognize. I've blocked probably 15 different numbers in 4 days. The voicemails range from sobbing apologies to angry accusations. Some highlights. Baby, please. It wasn't what it looked like. Just call me back. You're being so immature right now. I can't believe you're throwing away 2 years over nothing. This is emotional abuse. You know that, right? Silent treatment is abuse. My personal favorite was her best friend calling me a psychopath for manipulating an innocent test. Like I was the mastermind here somehow. The mental gymnastics these people do is truly Olympic level. Gold medal performance. Her other friend sent me a long text, I'm talking like 12 paragraphs, explaining that the whole test was scientifically designed to measure emotional attachment and that my cold reaction proves I never loved my ex anyway. She said this completely unironically, like she'd discovered some breakthrough in relationship psychology by watching TikTok videos about attachment styles. She actually cited TikTok as her source. I screenshot that one just for entertainment purposes. Then yesterday, my ex showed up at my apartment building. Didn't buzz up, waited in the parking lot until another resident was coming in, and slipped through the door behind them. She was standing outside my door when I got home from work, eyes puffy, looking like she hadn't slept. Please, she said immediately. Just let me explain. 5 minutes, that's all I'm asking. There's nothing to explain. You tested me. I failed your test. And oh, by the way, I know you were getting cozy with your coworker. We're done here. I didn't sleep with him. Her voice echoed down the hallway. Lower your voice. My neighbors don't need the drama. Nothing physical happened. It was just texting, just flirting. It didn't mean anything. I never would have actually done anything. Cool. So emotional cheating doesn't count? Good to know where your line is. She started crying harder, mascara running down her face. You don't understand what it's been like. You've been so distant lately, so focused on work all the time. He made me feel seen, feel appreciated, feel wanted. I just stared at her for a long moment. You're seriously standing here blaming me for you flirting with another guy? While your friends were planning to fake dump me to test my love? You see how absolutely wild that sounds, right? You see the contradiction? She wiped her eyes, smearing her makeup worse. The test was stupid. I know that now. I should never have listened to them. But what we have is real. You can't just throw away 2.5 years over a mistake. You threw it away when you started hiding things from me. I'm just accepting the reality you created. She grabbed my arm, gripping hard. Please, I'll do anything. Couples therapy, whatever you want. I'll quit my job so I never see him again. I'll cut off my friends who suggested the test. Whatever it takes. That's not necessary. We're done. Please leave. She didn't leave. She sat down right there in the hallway outside my door crying, saying she wasn't going anywhere until I talked to her for real. She literally planted herself on the floor like a sit-in protest. I went inside, closed my door, locked it, and called building security. They showed up about 15 minutes later and escorted her out. Through my door, I could hear her pleading with them, saying I was her boyfriend and this was all a misunderstanding. Security didn't care. Not on the lease, not allowed to loiter. But here's where it starts getting really interesting. Her mom called me the next morning. Now, I always got along with her mom. Nice lady, made amazing food at holidays, seemed reasonable and level-headed. So I actually answered, thinking maybe she'd be the voice of sanity. "Sweetheart," she said. She always called me that. "I heard what happened between you two. I'm so sorry my daughter put you through that silly test. It was immature and wrong. But you have to understand, she's absolutely devastated. She made a mistake with that coworker situation, but nothing physical happened. Can't you find it in your heart to forgive her? She loves you so much." I took a breath, choosing my words carefully. "Ma'am, I respect you a lot, so I'm going to be completely honest. Your daughter didn't just make a mistake. She actively pursued emotional intimacy with another guy while simultaneously planning to test whether I loved her enough. That's not a mistake. That's a pattern of behavior. That's a choice she made repeatedly. But she loves you. She's been crying for days. She won't eat, won't sleep. This is destroying her. I believe she's upset, but being upset isn't the same as being sorry. She's upset she got caught. There's a difference." Long pause. Then her tone shifted noticeably, got colder, harder. "You know, I always thought you were a good young man. I welcomed you into my home, but walking out on my daughter when she needs you most, when she's at her lowest point, that's cruel. Real men fight for their relationships. Real men don't abandon ship at the first sign of trouble. Real relationships don't require tests and backup options, ma'am. Take care of yourself." I hung up. 5 minutes later, I got a text from an unknown number. "You're going to regret this. My daughter deserves so much better than someone who gives up so easily. You'll see." Blocked. The thing that's really getting to me through all this? How everyone in her circle is acting like I'm the villain. Like planning a fake breakup and flirting with another guy is totally normal, acceptable behavior, and me walking away is the unforgivable act. Like I'm the one who violated some sacred trust. The entitlement is absolutely unreal. Update 2. 10 days later. Things escalated fast. First, let me tell you about the apartment situation. My ex started showing up at random times, sometimes alone, sometimes with her friends flanking her like backup. Tuesday night at 11 p.m., she was buzzing my apartment repeatedly, holding down the button. Wednesday morning at 6:30 a.m. Her best friend was in the parking lot, leaning against my car, waiting for me to leave for work. When I walked past her that morning, she stepped in front of me. "You know she tried to hurt herself, right, because of you?" I stopped cold. "Is she okay?" "Oh, now you care? Now you're concerned?" "Is she okay?" "She's fine. It wasn't serious, but she's not eating, not sleeping. She had to take time off work. This is destroying her life and you're just living yours like nothing happened. If she's struggling with her mental health, she needs professional help, not me taking her back. That's not gonna fix anything. You're heartless. 2.5 years together and you just shut off all your emotions? Like a robot? Like a machine? What is wrong with you?" I processed my emotions when I found out she was getting close to another guy. I had 3 weeks to come to terms with everything before your little test. What you saw at her apartment wasn't me shutting off. It was me being done. She had no response to that. Just stood there, opening and closing her mouth like a fish. But the dirty tricks were just getting started. 2 days later, I got a call from my landlord's office. Someone had filed an anonymous complaint claiming I was running an illegal business out of my apartment, that there was excessive noise at all hours, and suspicious visitors coming and going. The landlord knows me pretty well. I've been a quiet, reliable tenant for 3 years. He said he didn't believe any of it but had to follow up due to building policy. I asked if the complaint included any specific details. He said it mentioned possible drug activity and concerns from multiple neighbors. Drug activity. These people were actually trying to get me evicted. I explained the situation to my landlord. Messy breakup, ex-girlfriend and her friends not handling it well. trying to make my life difficult. He said he'd note it in the file and not to worry unless something concrete came up, but to let him know if anything else happened. Then came the friend group warfare. My ex and I have some mutual friends from when we first started dating, people we'd both hang out with at parties and gatherings. She got to them first. Suddenly, I'm getting texts from people I haven't talked to in months, asking what really happened, in that loaded way that tells you they've already heard her version. One guy I used to be pretty close with sent me, "Dude, I heard you've been stalking her? Going through her phone and laptop? That's pretty messed up if true." I replied with a brief explanation of what actually happened. The test, the coworker situation, me walking away. His response? "AITA man, that's not what she's saying. She said you were controlling the whole relationship and this was her trying to get out." I didn't even bother responding to that one. Believe what you want, but here's the thing that pushed me from passive to active. I found out through a coworker, who happened to know someone at my ex's company, that she'd been telling people at her office that I was stalking her, and she was afraid for her safety. She was building a narrative, creating a paper trail of me as the bad guy, just in case. That's when I decided to stop playing defense. My response: Step 1. I documented everything obsessively. Every voicemail saved to my cloud, every text screenshot and organized by date, every instance of her or her friends showing up at my apartment, logged with times and descriptions. The fake complaint to my landlord, noted and filed. I created a detailed spreadsheet like I was building a legal case because I realized I might need one. Step 2. I contacted a lawyer. Not a friend who knows law stuff, an actual attorney who handles harassment cases. I explained everything, showed him my documentation. He said I easily had enough for a cease and desist letter, and if the behavior continued, we could pursue a restraining order. He drafted the letter that same day. Step 3. And this is where I went on offense. I called my ex's coworker, the one she'd been texting. This might seem petty, but hear me out. I knew from the screenshots that this guy was married. His wife came up multiple times in the messages. My ex and her friends had actually joked about his wife being clueless and oblivious. The messages were still saved in my phone from when I photographed her laptop screen. I didn't contact his wife directly. That felt like going too far, punishing someone who didn't wrong me. But I did call him, found his number through some basic searching. He had a pretty active professional presence online. Called him at 6 p.m. on a Thursday. "Hello?" Confused voice. Didn't recognize my number. "Hey, you don't know me, but I'm your coworker's ex-boyfriend, or I guess more accurately, the guy she was dating while you two were having your little emotional affair." Dead silence on the other end. I could almost hear him sweating. "I'm not calling to threaten you or start anything, but I want you to know that I have screenshots of every text you sent her. The ones about how her boyfriend doesn't appreciate her properly. The ones where you talk about meeting up without your wife knowing. The ones where you call her beautiful and she sends back hearts. I have all of it." "What? What do you want?" His voice had gone shaky, thin. "Honestly, nothing from you. I don't want your money. I don't want an apology. I don't want anything. But here's the situation. Your affair partner and her friends have been harassing me for almost 2 weeks, showing up at my apartment, trying to get me evicted with fake complaints, spreading rumors about me. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to tell her to leave me completely alone. No more contact, no more showing up, no more games. Forever. And if I don't, then those screenshots might accidentally find their way to your HR department, or maybe your wife's email inbox. Depends on my mood that day, honestly. I'm not usually a vindictive person, but I'm running real low on patience. That's blackmail. No, it's a warning, a courtesy actually. Tell her to stop, make sure she actually stops, and none of this has to go anywhere. Keep in mind, I'm not asking for money or favors. I just want to be left alone. That's literally all I want. He agreed immediately. Practically tripped over himself apologizing, promising to handle it, swearing he'd make it stop. Step 4. The cease and desist letter was sent the next morning to my ex and her best friend via certified mail. It laid out everything: the harassment, the showing up at my apartment, the fake complaint to my landlord, the spreading of false rumors. made crystal clear that any further contact would result in immediate legal action. The silence that followed was beautiful. Final update. 3 weeks later. It worked. The harassment stopped almost immediately after my call with the coworker and the cease and desist delivery. I don't know exactly what he said to my ex, but she went from constant contact attempts to complete radio silence within 24 hours. Her friends stopped showing up. No more anonymous complaints. No more mutual friends reaching out with loaded questions. I finally had peace. But of course, there was one last gasp of entitlement. There always is. My lawyer called me last week. He'd received a letter from an attorney representing my ex. She was demanding 1. $5,000 for emotional distress caused by my harassment campaign against her. 2. Deletion of all screenshots and documentation I'd gathered. 3. A written, signed apology for defamation. 4. Assurance that I would never contact her coworker again. I actually laughed when he read it to me. The audacity was almost impressive. My lawyer's response was short and devastating. He pointed out that she had been the one showing up at my residence, not the other way around. The anonymous complaint to my landlord constituted harassment. I had documented evidence of her attempting to damage my reputation. Truth is an absolute defense against defamation. Her own text messages proved the emotional affair. Any lawsuit she filed would require discovery, which would expose all of those messages to public record, including to the coworker's wife. We never heard from her lawyer again. Guess they advised her to cut her losses. But the real fallout came from the coworker situation. Remember how I said I didn't contact his wife? Well, I didn't have to. About a week after my call with him, my ex apparently confronted him at work. Loudly. In front of other employees. Accused him of throwing her under the bus and choosing his wife over her, and a bunch of other stuff that made it very clear to everyone within earshot what had been going on between them. HR got involved immediately. Investigation launched. Turned out their company had a pretty strict policy about workplace relationships, especially when one party is married. Also turned out this wasn't his first time doing something like this. There had been complaints before, but nothing concrete. He got fired. Officially for creating a hostile work environment. But everyone knew the real reason. My ex, she didn't get fired, but she got put on a performance improvement plan and was apparently so humiliated she quit 2 weeks later. Couldn't handle walking past people who all knew what she'd done. I only found out about all this through the grapevine, my coworker who knows people at her company. I didn't seek this information out, but I'd be lying if I said it didn't feel like some kind of cosmic justice. Where everyone ended up, my ex moved back in with her parents. Unemployed, humiliated, and from what I hear, her friendships are strained because the people who pushed her toward the test feel guilty and she resents them for it. The whole friend group that planned this has apparently fractured. Turns out shared guilt doesn't bring people together. The coworker's marriage survived, barely, but they're in intensive couples therapy and apparently sleeping in separate rooms. His career took a major hit. Getting fired for workplace misconduct in a relatively small industry doesn't exactly open doors. Her best friend, the one who masterminded the test, actually blocked me on everything after receiving the cease and desist. Like somehow I was the aggressor. The lack of self-awareness would be funny if it wasn't sad. Her mom apparently told mutual acquaintances that I destroyed her daughter's life and that she always knew there was something wrong with me. People who actually know the situation have been pushing back on that narrative, but she's sticking to it. Some people would rather be wrong than admit they were wrong about someone. As for me, I'm doing okay. Not great, but okay. Genuinely okay. 2.5 years is a long time to be with someone. Even knowing everything I know now, there are moments I miss her. Miss what I thought we had, anyway. The good times were real, even if the foundation was rotting the whole time. I've been spending more time with my actual friends, the ones who heard the whole story and responded with, "That's insane, are you okay?" instead of, "Well, maybe you should have fought harder for her." My sister has been great, calling every few days to check in. My mom sent me a care package with my favorite snacks, which was both sweet and a little embarrassing at 28. I'm not dating yet. Haven't even opened a dating app. Don't really have the energy or the interest. Maybe in a few months, maybe longer. For now, I'm just enjoying the peace, the quiet. No more tests, no more checking if my girlfriend's phone is face down. No more wondering why she's working late again. No more gut feelings I have to ignore to keep the peace. The thing I keep thinking about is how close I came to never knowing. If I hadn't seen that laptop notification, if she'd been just a little more careful, I would have failed their stupid test. I would have begged and cried and fought for us like they wanted. And she would have stayed, feeling validated while continuing whatever she had going with her coworker. I would have been the fool who proved his love while she kept her options open, and I never would have known. So yeah, thank God for laptop notifications and terrible timing. Some people have asked if I regret how I handled things, if I would do anything differently. The answer is mostly no. I don't regret walking away. I don't regret the documentation or the cease and desist. I don't even really regret calling her coworker. That was just returning serve after they tried to get me evicted from my own apartment. The only thing I might have done differently, left sooner. The moment I saw those texts 3 weeks before the test, I probably should have just ended it then. Instead, I sat with the information, processed it slowly, gave myself time to be absolutely sure. But that delay meant 3 more weeks of pretending everything was fine. 3 more weeks of lying next to someone who was lying to me. That was exhausting in a way I'm still recovering from. Lessons learned. Trust your gut when it's screaming at you. Document everything when things go sideways. And when someone shows you who they really are, especially through their friends and the company they keep, believe them the first time. Don't wait for a second demonstration. To anyone reading this who's going through something similar, you deserve better than being tested. You deserve better than being someone's backup plan while they explore other options. And you deserve to walk away with your head held high when someone treats you like you're disposable. To my ex, if you somehow find this, I hope you figure out why you thought any of this was okay. I hope the therapy helps. But we're done. Permanently. What you and your friends did wasn't love. It was control dressed up as romance, and I'm not playing anymore. And to her best friend, the test architect, your scientifically designed relationship test proved exactly one thing. You're terrible at understanding people, and even worse at accepting responsibility for your terrible advice. Maybe work on that before you ruin someone else's relationship. I'm done updating this. Time to move on with my life. Peace.